Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Happy Thursday, everyone. Guys, the weekend is almost upon us. Hope you got some good plans for the weekend. I myself, I'm pretty much just going to work. I got to work this weekend. I'm trying to do a quick show here too because I actually have to get to work here pretty soon. So I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. Hopefully I can make little mistakes throughout this. That way I don't have to edit as much and I can do the editing process a little bit quicker, thus making it quicker and getting to work actually on time. So let's just roll right into it, guys. I'm going to get into a couple of news stories today. You guys, of course, fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know about what you think about what I'm about to put down. So, starting off, a couple little things off the top. First off, one thing I haven't talked about, Jessica Jones Season 3 came out on Friday on Netflix. It's the last of the Marvel Netflix series. Now, a while ago, basically, they canceled all the series. I'm not sure if they actually officially canceled Jessica Jones yet, but we know it's coming. It's kind of their past that we know they release the new season and then they cancel it. So if they haven't already announced the cancellation of Jessica Jones, I'm pretty sure it's coming. But it's the last of the Netflix Marvel series. Then, of course, Marvel Studios is taking everything back. I'm sure 5-6 years down the road, we'll see these characters up on the big screen or even in their own TV series as well. There are rumors that they might land on Disney Plus. I don't believe that because there's so much associated with Netflix. If we do see another Daredevil series, I think it's going to be completely different with different actors, which sucks because, out of all the series, Daredevil and Punisher, I think probably are the most worthy to continue. I'm not a big Punisher fan to say. I haven't even watched Punisher Season 2 yet. Again, I thought Season 1 was okay, but Punisher's just not my type of character, not the type of person I like. Jessica Jones, I like Season 1. Season 1, I think, is one of the best seasons of the Marvel Netflix series. Season 2 was crap. I hated Season 2, which is why I'm so hesitant to watch Season 3, but also, again, kind of going back to the fact that I haven't watched Punisher Season 2 as well. All these shows are canceled, so I feel like not an urgency to watch them. I'd much rather, go back and catch up on the Arrowverse shows. Last night, I started watching the latest season of Supergirl, so I'll get through that. That's the last of my Arrowverse seasons I need to catch up on. And other things I'd rather watch besides Jessica Jones, knowing how much I disliked Season 2. I'm not sure when I'm going to get to Season 3. But if you guys have seen it and liked it, of course, fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let me know why you think I should be watching it right now. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to watch other things, guys. Another thing off the top here, guys. Yesterday, new comics came out, of course, Wednesday. Hope you enjoyed some. I haven't gotten to a lot of them, but the very first one I did check out was Superman Year One by Frank Miller and Joe Romano Jr. Now, for those of you, of course, who don't know, Frank Miller, famous comic book writer, he wrote Dark Knight Returns, Daredevil's The Man Without Fear, and Sin City. He's very well known in the industry. Joe Romano Jr., of course, has done a bunch of stuff. Probably the most significant thing he's done is he teamed up with Mark Millar to bring us Kick-Ass. So it's probably the most famous piece of art that he's done, but he's done a lot of stuff as well. Great artist. I love it. Sat down, read Superman Year One before work yesterday. It's 60 pages, and it's going to be 3 pieces. So basically this first issue was kind of Clark growing up. It's very different, I think, than some of the other interpretations. Of course, every Superman origin has their own spin to it. Some of them I'm not a big fan of, some of them I am. My favorite one being Superman Secret Origins by Jeff Johns. My second favorite one being Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb. Those are kind of the two Superman origin stories I recommend. Of course, there's Birthright, and then there's The Man of Steel by John Byrne, which are fine, of course, but really those two, Secret Origin, Superman for All Seasons, are my favorites. So, given the fact that I am a big Superman fan, when there's another retelling of the origin, I'm very interested how it's going to go. Based off this first issue, it's pretty good. Now, again, if I just take this first issue, I still like Secret Origins and Superman for All Seasons better, but I like some of the choices that Frank Miller is making in the story. So if you guys are Superman fans, you can go check that out either digitally or your local comic book shop. Let me know what you think about it. Okay, next up, Matthew Vaughn has announced the title and a little bit of plot details to his Kingsman prequel movie that he's going to be doing. The film is set to come out February 2020. The film is going to be called The Kingsman, which is going to be an origin story of how kind of the Kingsmen got started. Plot details are as this, quote, as a collection of history's worst tyrants and criminals gather to plot a war to wipe out millions, one man must race against time to stop them. Discover the origins of the very first independent intelligence agency in The Kingsman, directed by Matthew Vaughn, coming to theaters February 2020. So the first Kingsman film, starring Colin Firth and Taron Egerton, came out several years ago, based off Mark Millar's comic series, The Secret Service. It was enjoyable. It was one of those zany, different things that was very enjoyable. Then you had the sequel, The Golden Circle, which was not as enjoyable. A lot of fans didn't like it. I still enjoy the first one. This, I think, sounds better than a Kingsman 3, in my opinion. Kind of seeing how everything started, the origin of it all. The film has a decent cast, it looks like. You got Aaron Taylor Johnson, Ray Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, Liam Neeson. I'm not sure who's going to be the main character in all of this, but with the plot summary like this, the fact that Matthew Vaughn is back in the director's chair, he didn't direct The Golden Circle, actually, so he's back at it again, so there's a little bit of hope there. So with those kind of details, gets me a little excited for the film. Of course, the original first two were done by Fox, which is now under the Disney banner. I'm not sure if that's going to change anything or not. We'll guess I have to wait and see if it's as zany and violent as the other one. Fire back on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and of course Gmail account. Let me know what you think about this Kingsman prequel. Okay, guys, next up, there's this little film you might have heard of called Avengers Endgame. Well, it was a big hit coming out. It held the weekend box office record for opening weekend when it came out back at the end of April, and it's kind of been chugging along ever since, breaking records, but it still hasn't gotten to the top of the records. It still hasn't beat Avatar for worldwide box office, and it still hasn't beaten Star Wars The Force Awakens for domestic box office, and we're coming along towards the end of the run of Avengers Endgame, and it looks like Disney and Marvel Studios wants to give it one more little push to try to get it over those humps. So coming out, it looks like they're going to give a re-release, which really isn't a re-release considering it's still in some theaters, of Avengers Endgame with a little bit of extra. So Kevin Feige was talking and he said, quote, "We are doing that. I don't know if it's been announced and I don't know how much. Yeah, we're doing it next weekend. Not an extended cut, but there will be a version going to the theaters with a bit of a marketing push with a few new things at the end of the movie. If you stay and watch the movie after the credits, there'll be a deleted scene, a little tribute, and a few surprises." So that's going to come June 28th, which is going to be next weekend, guys. The weekend before Spider-Man Far From Home comes out. Maybe it'll help give Spider-Man a little boost, although early reviews of Spider-Man Far From Home are saying it's really good, so I'm excited for that too. But basically what this all is you get a post-credit scene and a few other things that weren't in the original release of Avengers Endgame to try to push it over those box office charts. Now, as far as domestically, it's still almost about $100 million behind Star Wars The Force Awakens. So honestly, I don't think it's going to get there. However, worldwide, it's only about maybe 35 to 30 million behind Avatar as the number one worldwide box office film. If they can get just 1/10 of the audience that already saw Avengers Endgame to see it one more time, that's going to be more than enough to push it over the edge to have it be Avatar. And I talked about this, I think, a while ago, where if it got close, I would have no problem going to seeing it again, spending the money again to go see Avengers Endgame to try to help it be the number one box office movie, to be a comic book film as the number one worldwide box office film ever. Something that I think, will not get beat for a long time, considering, Avatar has held it for over 10 years now, and it's struggling. Avengers Endgame is struggling to get to that record. So Disney and Marvel doing this push. This weekend we do have another Disney film, Toy Story 4, coming out. So I can see why they want to put it right in the middle there, because you have Disney movie. The next weekend you can put it there, and then after that you got Spider-Man, which is another Disney movie. So you got kind of 3 Disney films each weekend. In any case, I'm going to go see it, guys. I'm going to go see it just to see not only what extra little tidbits they have, but also, again, to do my part to try to make a comic book film the number one box office movie of all time. I mean, I enjoyed Infinity War more than I enjoyed Endgame. I'll tell you that. I didn't think Endgame was phenomenal. I loved it, but I didn't think it was phenomenal, and I enjoyed Infinity War more, but it's the principle of it, right? As a comic book and sci-fi fan, I would love to see a comic book film be the number one box office film. So that's why I'm going. That's why I'm trying to get other people to go. If you guys liked Endgame and want to see it as the number one box office film of all time, go see Avengers Endgame just one more time. Bring a couple of friends. Go see the film one more time. You can, heckle at it if you want. Just pay the money to go see it and see these extra little tidbits. And I'm going to be very interested to see exactly what little small thing they put in this time. But that's it, guys. Of course, fire back. Let me know if you're planning on watching this or why you are not. I already had a couple of people respond saying they are not going to go see it again, mainly because of the way they felt about Avengers Endgame in general. That's fine. That's cool. You're entitled to your own opinion. Me, myself, I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to try to get my fellow band of Avengers to come with me, guys. So, okay, guys, last news story for today. So, came out a couple days ago that Lucasfilm has created a new position in order to help deal with their Star Wars live-action material. So, from the Hollywood Reporter, it said that Lucasfilm has brought on this woman, Michelle Rejwan, I don't know how to say it. Michelle, Rejwan, Rewan, something like that. Anyway, she is going to be Senior VP of Live Action Development and Production over at Lucasfilm. That basically means she's going to oversee a new slate of feature films on the Disney Plus series, as well as continue to help produce Lucasfilm movies, along with Kathleen Kennedy, who is the head of Lucasfilm over there. Now, Kathleen Kennedy went on to talk several things about Michelle and why she's, great for this job, yada, yada, yada. I'd rather look at her resume. So, in the article on Hollywood Reporter, it gives you kind of an idea of, what her resume is. But I went over to IMDb and I kind of looked. So, first off, she's in the casting department for The Office, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and Curb Your Enthusiasm. Miscellaneous crew. She's been an assistant to J.J. Abrams. That's kind of the main thing. She got started off as being J.J. Abrams' assistant for many years, actually. And then you have producing credits for her. So, Super 8, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Wars The Force Awakens, she has been either an associate producer or a co-producer. The only thing she's been a full producer on is the upcoming Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. And that's kind of it. I mean, obviously, being J.J. Abrams' assistant and what J.J. Abrams does as far as his hands in television and film, multiple things and multiple times, that's got to be quite the job being the assistant for a person like that. So I give her mad props for that. Also, of course, producing other stuff is fine. But there are some people who are kind of questioning whether she deserves a role such as this, or really if she is qualified for a job such as this. And to me, I'm really thinking, why does this job even exist? Is kind of what I'm asking. Because let's look at the job description, okay? What does it say? It says, oversee a new slate of feature films as well as Disney Plus series, okay? Well, that kind of sounds something like she's going to be producing, the live action stuff to where, she's going to oversee everything. I get it, okay? Well, let's head over to Marvel Studios real quick, another division of Disney, and you have Kevin Feige. So Kevin Feige, as we know, is a producer on all the Marvel Studio films. He kind of, has the grand plan and oversees everything. And he is president of Marvel Studios. And as president of the studio, he basically has his hands in everything, kind of overseeing the grand scheme of it all. And that kind of sounds like what they tapped Michelle to do, right? As far as with the live action films and the live action TV series, I get it. So what the hell is Kathleen Kennedy doing? Okay, she is the president of Lucasfilm, right? So if you're thinking of a president of a studio, Kevin Feige, is a producer who oversees the films. Isn't that what Kathleen Kennedy should be doing? If I'm not mistaken, okay? And granted, of course, Lucasfilm has a little bit more going on with their animated series, video games, basically Star Wars stuff. They got a little bit more than just films. Kevin Feige focuses, I think, solely on the films. I get that, but I'm just saying Kathleen Kennedy should be doing this job, in my opinion. She should be the one looking after the films and at least the live action series. Animated stuff, honestly, you can hand that off to anybody as far as Dave Filoni or whoever on there, okay? I mean, the main stuff, the films and the live action, that's what the studio president, what Kathleen Kennedy should be focusing on. So why was this job created for this person? That's kind of what I'm asking myself, okay? Because this seems like a job that Kathleen Kennedy should be doing, because that's what studio presidents do, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm far off, of course. I know each position isn't the same as the other, but to me it seems like I know, or we kind of know what Kevin Feige does, so why can't, a person like Kathleen Kennedy kind of do that? I mean, she's a great producer. Steven Spielberg says that Kathleen Kennedy is the best producer she's ever worked with. She was definitely qualified to be the person to take over Lucasfilm. I have no doubt about that. But to do that basically means you're overseeing what Lucasfilm does, mainly the most important things that Lucasfilm does, which are the studio films and the live action material. So why are you creating this position for another person to do your job? Now, this person, Michelle, some people are questioning her qualifications as far as not having enough credit. To me, of course, like I said, they're comparing it to more of a Kevin Feige type character or role. And with that, I say, yeah. I mean, if you look at what Kevin Feige does and all the things that he does, I don't think this person has enough experience to do a job like this. But Kevin Feige also is more creative, as well as, producing. So he's, got the whole scope in plan. And again, I feel like as president of Lucasfilm, that's something Kathleen Kennedy should do. But Kathleen Kennedy is a great producer. I don't think she's so much as good as the creative type. But then again, nothing on Michelle's resume makes me believe that she's also a good creative type. But it's kind of a step up. And I'm not going to say that she can't do it, because any person who gets a promotion, it's a job they probably aren't used to doing. So, you got to give them some slack. This job just seems like something Kathleen Kennedy should be doing. Maybe I'm far off, guys. Of course, maybe I'm just comparing everything to Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige isn't the right thing to do. But to me, it seems like, hey, this person has paid her dues, of course, being assistant, being co-producers, doing all this stuff. Let's, promote her up and give her a bigger role. Let's create a job for her. And creating that job, to me, makes it seem like it's something someone else should be doing, in my opinion. But again, this is just me and my knowledge, which is probably very limited as far as how everything works out. But she is a full producer on Rise of Skywalker, so we'll see how that film goes. And I really don't want to try to slam Kathleen Kennedy. I know a lot of people do kind of put her down, but let's look at more recent things where, say, producing in studios and directing. Look at Hellboy, and let's look at Men in Black International. The behind-the-scenes drama we heard about the director, producers, drama that ruined both those films. Yes, Star Wars films have had their drama, but Kathleen Kennedy, as head of Lucasfilm and producer on these films, solved their problem. When she had problems with Solo, what'd she do? She fired the directors, brought in someone she knew could do the job, and you know what? Solo, despite the fact that it didn't make a lot of money, is a good film. Ask any Star Wars fan who's actually seen it; they say it's enjoyable. I'm not saying it's the best, but it's an enjoyable film. Rogue One, they had problems with the ending. What'd she do? She brought in someone who could do the job and finished it off. Episode 9, brought back J.J. Abrams, etc. Kathleen Kennedy, as a producer, knows when to, make the calls, change directions, and solve problems. So I will give her that all the credit in the world. That's her job as Lucasfilm studio head. But the most important thing are the Star Wars films and the live action stuff. So to me, it seems like this is a job she should be doing. So why was this other job created? That's really my question, guys. All right, guys. Well, that is it for me today, of course. Time for you to fire back on the social media groups or Gmail account. Let me know what you think about any of the topics I have discussed. Of course, this Star Wars topic, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Let's talk about it some more and get that going. But that is going to be it for me today, guys. Of course, if you have enjoyed this episode or any episodes before that, head on over to my Patreon page and donate $1. That's right, guys. I do this show with a $20 microphone, an 8-year-old computer, and Windows Movie Maker is what I edit on. So obviously, I'm not rolling in dough here, but $1 gives me more of a drive to do a better show, and of course, maybe get some better equipment going on here. So if you can, guys, enjoy this, go to Patreon, donate $1 a month. All I ask for, it'll be greatly appreciated. But that's going to be it, guys. Go enjoy your weekend. Have a good time. Until next time, may the Force be with us all.